I'm Betty Walker, and I'm going to demonstrate of how you freeze corn. You freeze it off of the cob and also on the cob. There's two different ways that we do it. We start on the cob with a fresh ear of corn, and it has to have the right milk content in this corn in order to freeze well. So we wait before we pick until the milk content in there is a certain stage. We clean this good, don't put any water on it whatsoever. Then you take the corn, wrap it in saran wrap, individual ears, put it in your Ziploc bags. I usually put about 8 ears in a Ziploc bag. Then in the winter, when I get ready to have corn, I go in and take out ever how many I want. I have my water boiling. Then I put my corn down in the boiling water. When it comes back to a full rolling boil, I boil it for 2 minutes with 2 teaspoons full of sugar inside there. And that's how that we freeze it on the cob. Now, off the cob, I'll show you how to do it off the cob. It's very, very important to have your corn cleaned, all the silks off of it. This is the most important thing when you're cutting corn off the cob. Only make one thin slice. I cut that one slice down this way. All the way around that cob, one thin slice. As I cut that off, I make sure that I don't go too close to the cob or you'll get the cob taste. Then, as I cut it, I go back and I take the knife and I scrape the milk off. You do it just like this. You're scraping that all the way around and getting the milk off of it. Then you do the other side, other end. You do all of that cob, and I usually do about a dozen ears at once to put in the pan. After I cut all this off, I put it in my pan. Put it in my pan. Then after I've done my dozen ears of corn, I put about a third a cup of water in there. And only let it get lukewarm. And then you turn it off and let it cool. Then I have a different size containers to put that in. If you live alone, then you can fill up this small container here and put it in the freezer. That's the new ball containers that they have. Then, if I'm doing it for larger families, I put it in a Ziploc bag. But this holds that up for you. You fill up that Ziploc bag full of the corn that's lukewarm. Then you freeze it, fill that up, and I want to freeze that solid. When I freeze it, I put it on the cookie sheet, froze solid right there. I usually do about 4 to 5 and freeze that, and then go back and do the same thing again. That way it just stacks up and you have more room in your freezer if you do it that way. But I always mark what year that I did it. I always use the marker on the Ziploc bag so I know exactly when I did the corn. And then I have special containers for when in the winter time or when we have Christmas or Thanksgiving, special occasions. I'll do one large bowl cut off. This would take about 3 dozen ears of corn in this bowl, cut off of the cob. Then I do it for smaller ones like this. So that way then you've got different sizes for different occasions you're gonna have all winter. And corn cut off the cob tasty just like it came from the field. So I usually do a bowl of corn first, and then I put it in a pan and let it warm up, because you don't want to put over a dozen ears in a pan at a time because it will stick on you. So I usually cut off a dozen ears of corn and put it in the bowl. And then have a pan on the stove to let it get this lukewarm, and then turn it off and let it cool. Put it in these size containers, either which one you'd like, whichever one fits your occasions better.